AudioBooksTube is glad to produce, publish, and offer. Communicate with confidence, the blueprint for mastering every conversation. By Sage D. Esotreasure. Words wield incredible power, shaping perceptions and influencing relationships. The essence of who we are can often be distilled into the language we use, yet it's essential to recognize that the message we intend to convey doesn't always match what others receive. This misalignment raises a critical question: what do people truly hear when we speak? Mastering the art of communication can enhance our confidence, respect, and influence in any setting. It's no wonder that many people find themselves drawn to effective communicators. There's a certain magnetism in those who articulate their thoughts with clarity and purpose. One of Favorage's core beliefs is that anyone can cultivate their voice and become a more effective communicator. It doesn't require a complete personality overhaul, but rather a willingness to learn and adapt. Recognizing the importance of words and how they can influence perceptions is the first step. Whether you're naturally expressive or tend to hold back, everyone has the capacity to articulate their thoughts and feelings more clearly. Effective communication isn't about perfection, it's about progress. As you embrace the journey of becoming a better communicator, remember that it's perfectly okay to make mistakes. Each conversation offers a valuable learning experience, allowing you to refine your skills and approach. The key is to remain open to feedback and continuously seek opportunities for improvement. In conclusion, the way we communicate has a profound impact on how we are perceived by others. These insights illuminate the essential connection between words and identity. By recognizing the power of our language and learning to communicate effectively, we can foster deeper relationships, navigate conflicts with grace, and ultimately transform our lives. So, as you reflect on your communication style, remember that every word carries weight, and you have the ability to shape your reality through your speech. Embrace the journey, practice active listening, and allow your voice to shine. After all, what you say is indeed who you are. We've all had those moments when we wish we could take back our words. Picture this: you're sitting in a car, and your partner just looks at you with disappointment, asking, "Why did you have to say that?" Instantly, a familiar feeling creeps in, a mix of embarrassment and defensiveness. You're about to dive into a full-on argument, and the tension is palpable. Let's face it, we've been there. Whether it's a small faux pas at a family gathering or an ill-timed comment that stirs the pot, we often find ourselves stuck in these conversational traps. Communication experts emphasize that misunderstandings arise from the disconnection between what is said and what is heard. It's not just a matter of words, it's about frequencies. If you and your conversation partner are on different wavelengths, clarity becomes elusive. Imagine two people tuning into different radio stations. One might be jamming to 90s country, while the other is vibing to early 2000s R&B. No matter how much they both love their music, they're not going to enjoy the same experience. The same goes for communication. When you're in the back seat of that car with your partner, feeling cornered by their question, it's crucial to ask, "What did you hear?" This simple inquiry can shift the dynamic from defensive to exploratory. When someone feels attacked, it's easy to slip into a state of fight or flight. As you reflect on what you intended to convey versus what was interpreted, it's vital to step back. The instinct is to defend yourself, but engaging in a back and forth of accusations rarely leads to resolution. Instead, focusing on what the other person perceived can create a bridge of understanding. Let's consider the reverse scenario. Suppose you're the one who feels compelled to respond to something your partner said at a social gathering. Instead of jumping in with "Why would you say that?" which can feel accusatory, try approaching it with curiosity. Shift the question to "What made you say that?" This change in wording signals a willingness to understand rather than to criticize. It's about fostering an environment of open dialogue instead of one where both parties feel under attack. In the realm of communication, curiosity trumps judgment. When you're in a position to question someone's words or actions, doing so from a place of inquiry can lead to deeper conversations. People are often more receptive when they feel you're interested in understanding their perspective rather than defending your own. This mindset can transform conflicts into opportunities for connection. Effective communication isn't a mystery, it's a skill that requires practice and intention. Many of us want to express ourselves but may hesitate, fearing that our words won't come out right. The truth is, sometimes you need to plunge into the deep end rather than tiptoe around the edge. While it can feel daunting, embracing directness can lead to more fulfilling interactions. Let's frame this in the context of a difficult conversation, perhaps a meeting at work where you need to deliver bad news. Picture walking into someone's office, knowing that the conversation ahead isn't going to be pleasant. There are two ways to approach it. One could choose the meandering route, softening the blow with excessive preamble. "So, how have you been? How's the family?" While the intent may be to ease into the conversation, it can also create unnecessary tension and anxiety. Instead, what if you began with a straightforward acknowledgement? "Thank you for meeting with me. I have some difficult news to share." By being upfront, you set a tone of honesty and respect. You're not dancing around the issue, you're confronting it head-on. This approach shows respect for the other person's time and emotional capacity. Often, we fear disappointing others, leading us to soften our messages. However, this reluctance can undermine their ability to cope with reality. People appreciate honesty, and they value those who can deliver difficult news without unnecessary embellishment. This principle extends beyond professional settings and into personal relationships, including parenting. It's essential to recognize that age and context matter. How you communicate with a young child differs from how you might approach a teenager. For instance, when discussing life lessons with your kids, it's crucial to strike a balance between honesty and compassion. Instead of sugarcoating, you can provide clarity while maintaining a loving tone. There's a common piece of advice about sandwiching negative feedback between positive statements. While this technique has its merits, it can often feel insincere. Instead of presenting a sugar-coated version of the truth, consider diving straight into the matter while still being kind. You can be direct without being harsh. Let's take a moment to explore why many shy away from direct communication. The fear that someone may not be able to handle the truth can lead us to soften our language or avoid confrontation altogether. However, the teaching is that it's often more cruel to withhold honesty than to express it plainly. People can sense insincerity, and it creates a rift in trust. Think about it. What's more respectful? Treating someone like a child who can't handle reality, or acknowledging them as an adult capable of processing information? Authenticity fosters stronger connections. When you speak truthfully and respectfully, you empower others to engage with you authentically. It's vital to build emotional resilience in those around you. By offering honesty instead of avoidance, you allow them to grow and navigate their own reactions. Emotional reactions are a natural part of human interaction. By acknowledging them and allowing space for processing, you cultivate a healthier environment for open communication. Let's say your partner makes a comment during a gathering that catches you off guard. Instead of responding with immediate defensiveness, take a breath and ask, "What did you mean by that?" This approach shifts the conversation from confrontation to curiosity. It allows your partner to explain their perspective, fostering understanding rather than escalating conflict. In the context of everyday life, we often encounter situations where miscommunication is likely to occur. Recognizing the potential for misunderstanding can help us navigate conversations more effectively. When we realize that our words might be interpreted differently than intended, we can pause and choose our responses with care. All of these remind us that communication is an ongoing journey. The more we practice being clear and honest, the more comfortable we become in our interactions. Each conversation is an opportunity for growth, not just for ourselves, but for those we engage with. So, the next time you find yourself in a conversation where tensions are high, remember the importance of clarity and curiosity. Instead of jumping into defensive mode, ask what the other person heard. Shift your approach from judgment to inquiry, and watch how the dynamics of the conversation change. In summary, effective communication is about understanding, respect, and authenticity. By choosing to express ourselves directly and honestly, we cultivate stronger relationships. The journey toward becoming a better communicator is ongoing, but with intention and practice, anyone can navigate the complexities of conversation with grace and clarity. We often find ourselves in tricky conversations where the line between kindness and honesty becomes blurred. In trying to be considerate, we may inadvertently drift into dishonesty, which can be particularly hurtful, especially towards those we care about. This tendency to avoid direct communication stems from the belief that people might not be able to handle the truth. In doing so, we strip away their strength and agency. Instead of empowering them to face difficult situations, we wrap them in a fragile bubble that ultimately hinders their growth. When you approach a conversation with an indirect method, you're essentially saying, "I don't believe you can handle this." But what if, instead, you told them, "I trust you to process this"? This shift in perspective changes everything. By asserting your confidence in their emotional resilience, you are giving them the tools they need to tackle whatever comes their way. Think of it as providing them with armor for an upcoming battle. It's an act of love disguised as honesty. As we delve into the realm of communication, it's crucial to jump straight into the deep end. Nobody enjoys the back and forth tap dance around uncomfortable subjects. Getting right to the point may feel daunting, but it often paves the way for more fruitful discussions. Consider this. You might say, "I need to talk about something important, and I believe you can handle it." This statement not only prepares them for the upcoming conversation but also reassures them of your faith in their strength. When you assert, "I'm bringing this up because I know you can handle it," you uplift the other person. They'll feel validated and empowered, ready to engage in the conversation despite the discomfort. Imagine the difference between saying, "I don't want to upset you, but, and I trust you can manage this." The former implies weakness, the latter conveys respect and confidence. Moreover, when discussing sensitive topics, your language can shape the other person's response. By framing the conversation around the values you want them to embody, you can guide them toward a positive reaction. For instance, if you tell someone, "I know you value honesty," you're prompting them to engage with you from a place of integrity. It's about nurturing the qualities you want to see in them, allowing them to rise to the occasion. Now, let's explore how to create a space for open dialogue. When you walk into a room where an important conversation is about to take place, you might set the tone by stating, "I want to ensure this is a space for honesty." This invitation not only expresses your intention but also encourages others to participate in an authentic manner. Using this approach in a professional environment can be particularly effective. Imagine stepping into your colleague's office, preparing for a challenging discussion. Rather than tiptoeing around the subject, you could confidently assert, "I want to ensure we have an honest conversation here. Can we agree to be transparent with each other?" This statement fosters an atmosphere of trust and accountability, allowing for a more meaningful exchange. By employing this technique, you not only clarify your intentions but also encourage your conversation partner to step into a place of honesty. It's like leading a witness in court. You're guiding them toward the kind of interaction you hope to have. You're creating a framework that sets clear expectations for what the conversation will entail. Additionally, it's essential to articulate how you want the conversation to end. By doing this, you provide clarity and structure, preventing the discussion from spiraling into unproductive territory. For example, after addressing an issue, you might say, "I'd like us to conclude this conversation with a mutual understanding that we won't revisit this topic in front of others." This establishes a boundary that ensures both parties leave the conversation feeling heard and respected. The power of framing cannot be overstated. If you leave the conversation open-ended or vague, you risk entering murky waters where misunderstandings and misinterpretations can fester. You've probably experienced meetings where everyone is on edge, unsure of what's being discussed. They often end with a sense of confusion and unresolved tension. By being clear and direct, you can avoid these pitfalls, allowing for constructive conversations. Now, how do we navigate conversations with people we might not particularly like? This situation is more common than we'd like to admit, but it doesn't have to be a barrier to effective communication. When faced with a challenging individual, remember that your goal isn't to change their mind or win their affection. Instead, focus on presenting yourself as a person of integrity. People are always observing how we interact with others, especially in professional settings. They notice our body language, tone, and even our choice of words. If you're speaking with someone you find difficult, aim to remain neutral and factual. Rather than letting your discomfort seep into the conversation, stick to the facts and avoid unnecessary commentary or emotional reactions. For instance, if a colleague asks you about a project you're both involved in, respond in a straightforward manner without letting your personal feelings color the interaction. Keep your comments simple and to the point, minimizing the potential for misunderstandings. Instead of rolling your eyes or making sarcastic remarks, practice composure and professionalism. This approach not only reflects positively on you but also reinforces your credibility. The key is to engage with a mindset that focuses on the task at hand, rather than the individual you're speaking with. It's about maintaining professionalism and respect, regardless of personal feelings. Remember that your goal is to foster a productive environment, and by being direct and neutral, you can achieve that even in challenging situations. As we navigate the complexities of communication, let's remember the importance of honesty and clarity. Avoiding the truth in an effort to be kind often leads to more significant issues down the line. Instead of sugarcoating your messages, embrace transparency and trust in the strength of those you care about. When you jump straight into the conversation, you give the other person the opportunity to rise to the occasion. By framing discussions around the qualities you want them to embody, you encourage them to engage in a meaningful way. Ultimately, effective communication is a skill that can be honed with practice. Each conversation is a chance to strengthen your connections and foster a culture of honesty. So, the next time you find yourself facing a challenging dialogue, remember to approach it with confidence and clarity. Empower those around you by showing that you trust them to handle the truth. In summary, cultivating open and honest communication takes effort and intention. By reframing our approach to difficult conversations and setting clear expectations, we can foster an environment where everyone feels valued and heard. Embrace the challenge, and watch as your relationships deepen and your conversations flourish. Navigating social interactions can often feel like walking through a minefield. In many cases, people say things that come off as condescending or downright rude, often masking their own insecurities. It's easy to get drawn into their drama, but the key to managing these situations lies in how we respond. Rather than getting flustered or reacting emotionally, we can adopt strategies that diffuse tension and take away their power. For instance, when someone makes a cutting remark, perhaps about your relationship status or appearance, it's tempting to let that comment slide or to react defensively. However, what if you turn the tables by asking them to repeat what they said? Phrasing it as, "Could you say that again?" effectively puts the spotlight back on them. This technique strips away the thrill they hope to gain from your reaction. Instead of feeding into their need for drama, you remove the emotional gratification they expect. Consider the scenario where someone asks, "So, you're still single?" Instead of feeling insulted, you calmly ask, "Could you say that again?" Most people won't want to repeat a statement that exposes their pettiness, and it forces them to reconsider their words. You could also follow up with, "Did you intend to hurt my feelings with that comment?" This not only mirrors their behavior back at them but also challenges them to reflect on their motives. Often, such questions prompt the offender to backtrack and rethink their stance. This approach is not limited to dealing with strangers. It can also apply to family and close friends. For instance, a parent might question an adult child's spending habits by commenting on a new outfit. Instead of allowing the conversation to devolve into a confrontation, the child could respond with, "Are you trying to imply I'm irresponsible with my money?" This not only calls attention to the underlying issue but also shifts the focus back to the parent's intentions, highlighting how their words may come off as belittling. When you bring awareness to someone's disrespectful comments, you not only take the wind out of their sails but also open up a space for constructive dialogue. By asking them to clarify their intentions, you foster a climate where belittling remarks are not tolerated. The objective is to deflate their need to demean you, and once they realize their comments lack the intended impact, they are less likely to engage in such behavior in the future. Disrespect is another common area where people struggle to maintain composure. Often, a simple pause can create distance between their disrespectful comment and your response. Silence is a powerful tool. Taking a moment to let their words hang in the air can turn an uncomfortable moment into an opportunity for growth. When someone disrespects you, waiting 10 seconds before replying can make the situation feel awkward for them, which gives you an advantage. After the pause, you might respond with something like, "That comment is beneath my standards for conversation." This approach repositions the power dynamic, showing that you refuse to engage with anything that doesn't meet your standards. You are not dismissing the person but rather the behavior they exhibited. This simple shift in language reinforces your boundaries and encourages respect. Consider the scenario where someone is rude to a server at a restaurant. If you find yourself in a situation where a friend or family member is behaving disrespectfully, it's crucial not to participate in that negativity. Instead, you can set a standard for your own behavior. For example, when your grandfather was grumpy at Walmart, instead of mirroring his negativity, you can choose to be polite and grateful toward the staff. This sets a different tone and shows your values without explicitly confronting his behavior. Afterward, if you feel comfortable, it might be necessary to address your grandfather about his conduct. You could say something like, "I noticed you were a bit sharp with the staff. I think it's essential to treat people with kindness, even when we're having a rough day." This maintains respect for him while asserting your own standards for behavior. In a different light, when someone is openly disrespectful in a group setting, it's vital to remain calm and collected. The key is to model the behavior you wish to see. When everyone is watching how you handle disrespect, you are setting a standard for how to engage with others. Remaining kind and courteous, even in the face of rudeness, demonstrates emotional maturity and self-control. If a person you're with starts berating someone else, you could intervene subtly. Instead of attacking them directly, you might say something like, "I think everyone deserves respect, regardless of the situation." This simple statement can create a moment of reflection, not just for the person being disrespectful but also for the onlookers. By doing so, you instigate a change in the atmosphere without escalating the situation. Managing disrespectful behavior also requires understanding your relationship with the individual in question. Depending on the context, you may choose to approach the situation differently. If you don't have a close bond with the person being disrespectful, it may be easier to remove yourself from the situation entirely. However, if you have a deeper connection with them, addressing the issue directly might be the best course of action. Furthermore, it's important to note that how you respond to disrespect can impact not just the immediate situation but also your long-term relationships. When you set boundaries and maintain your standards, you're communicating what is acceptable in your interactions. This ultimately fosters healthier relationships where both parties feel respected. If someone continues to behave in a disrespectful manner despite your attempts to address it, consider reassessing your boundaries with that individual. You may need to distance yourself or minimize interactions to protect your emotional well-being. This doesn't mean you're abandoning the relationship, rather, you're choosing to prioritize respect and kindness in your life. In conclusion, navigating difficult conversations and disrespectful behavior requires a blend of assertiveness, emotional intelligence, and self-control. By asking individuals to repeat their comments, reflecting on their intent, and employing strategic silence, you can transform potentially damaging interactions into opportunities for growth. Surrounding yourself with kindness and respect not only empowers you but also sets a precedent for how others should treat you. Remember, the way you choose to respond not only reflects your values but also shapes your relationships with those around you. If you're enjoying this audiobook and finding value in the content, we kindly ask you to take a moment to subscribe to the channel. A large portion of our listeners and viewers haven't subscribed yet, and by doing so, you'll help us grow and continue bringing you more high-quality audiobooks. Your support means a lot to us, and it's just one click away. So, Go ahead and hit that subscribe button to stay connected and never miss out on our latest releases. Ultimately, the goal is to cultivate an environment where open dialogue is encouraged and disrespect is not tolerated. By taking the time to address disrespectful comments, we can foster healthier interactions and create spaces where everyone feels valued. With practice, these strategies can lead to more profound relationships built on mutual respect and understanding. Setting firm boundaries is crucial in fostering respectful relationships, whether with family, friends, or colleagues. Imagine finding yourself in a situation where someone, perhaps a family member, consistently displays a lack of respect towards others. It can be challenging, especially when you genuinely care about them. The key lies in how you communicate your feelings and expectations without coming across as accusatory or confrontational. For example, if you're dealing with a relative who speaks harshly to waitstaff at restaurants, it's important to approach the situation delicately. You could say, "I can't continue to go out with you if the way you talk to others doesn't change." This communicates that their behavior is unacceptable without launching a personal attack. The goal is to encourage reflection, making them aware of how their words and tone affect not only their relationships but also how others perceive them. This type of candid conversation is rooted in love and respect. You want to be a mirror for them, reflecting their behavior so they can see how it impacts those around them. For instance, if your grandfather was often rude to others, you might approach him directly, stating, "I love you, and I want others to love you too." We need to work on how you communicate with people. This provides a clear message that while you care, their actions have consequences. Surprisingly, many individuals can change when they realize how their actions impact others. You might find that by articulating your concerns with kindness, you can evoke a positive response. You could follow up with something like, "I've noticed some improvement in how you interact with people, and it means a lot to me." This reinforces the behavior you want to see. Another important communication strategy is to express feelings rather than making accusations. For instance, if you're disappointed with a family member's behavior, instead of saying, "You're always so messy," try rephrasing it, "I feel overwhelmed when I see the mess in the room." This subtle shift allows you to express your feelings without directly blaming the other person, making it less likely they will become defensive. Consider the scenario where a child has left their room in disarray. Instead of confronting them with an accusatory tone, approach it collaboratively. You might say, "I see that the room could use some tidying up. What can we do together to fix that?" This method transforms the situation from a confrontation into a partnership. You are inviting them to address the problem together, fostering a sense of teamwork rather than conflict. This concept of separating the person from the problem can also be applied in various contexts, not just within family dynamics. For instance, in a workplace setting, if a colleague submits a presentation that lacks clarity, instead of saying, "Your presentation was confusing," you might say, "The presentation could benefit from some clarification in a few areas." This reframing removes the personal element and directs the focus on the work itself, promoting a more constructive dialogue. This approach is incredibly effective when dealing with roommates or even in friendships. For example, if you're sharing a living space and the common areas are consistently messy, rather than assigning blame, you could say, "The kitchen is looking a bit cluttered. How can we tackle this together?" This not only addresses the issue but also emphasizes collaboration and shared responsibility. Using language that promotes a cooperative atmosphere can yield significant changes in behavior. When you frame your concerns in terms of needs and help, people are often more receptive. For instance, instead of saying, "You need to clean up your stuff," try saying, "I need a clean space to feel comfortable. How can we make that happen?" This invokes a sense of accountability while simultaneously inviting assistance. Moreover, this approach can apply to various situations, such as managing screen time or encouraging healthier habits. If a friend is spending excessive time gaming, instead of chastising them, you could say, "I've noticed you've been gaming a lot lately. I'm concerned about your balance and activities. How can we find a better mix?" This reframes the conversation around the issue rather than the person, which may inspire them to reflect and take action. While it's essential to communicate effectively, some individuals may struggle with self-expression due to social anxiety or lack of confidence. For those who find it challenging to speak up in group settings or assert their needs, it's important to develop strategies that build confidence. One method is to practice succinct communication. Often, anxiety stems from overthinking what to say, leading to lengthy and complicated explanations. Teaching someone to express their thoughts concisely can alleviate this pressure. For example, you might encourage a friend who struggles with social interactions to prepare key phrases or sentences they can use in conversations. Role-playing different scenarios can help them practice these phrases in a safe environment, gradually increasing their comfort level in real situations. You might say, "When you're feeling overwhelmed, just remember to keep it simple." You can say, "I need a moment to think about that," or "Let's focus on this issue together." Additionally, reinforcing the idea that the focus should be on the problem rather than the individual can help ease social anxiety. Encouraging them to view conversations as collaborative efforts rather than confrontations can shift their mindset. It's essential to remind them that everyone encounters difficulties and that it's okay to ask for help or clarification when needed. Visualizing discussions as a shared table where both parties sit down to resolve a problem together can be incredibly empowering. It reframes the interaction, allowing for a more relaxed and open exchange of ideas. This can be particularly beneficial in situations where misunderstandings or disagreements arise. Ultimately, communication is about connection. The way we express ourselves can significantly influence our relationships and interactions. By focusing on feelings and collaboration rather than blame, we create a space where respect and understanding thrive. Establishing boundaries, expressing feelings, and approaching issues as joint challenges fosters an environment where everyone feels valued and heard. Incorporating these strategies into your daily interactions can lead to more meaningful relationships. By focusing on the problem rather than the person, you allow for constructive conversations that promote growth and understanding. As you practice these techniques, you'll likely find that your ability to communicate effectively will improve, leading to stronger, more positive connections with those around you. Encouraging others to embrace these principles will not only benefit them but also create a ripple effect in your community. The more we model respect, kindness, and open communication, the more likely others are to adopt similar behaviors. In turn, this contributes to a more harmonious environment where everyone feels empowered to express themselves without fear of judgment. Navigating social situations can be quite the labyrinth for many, particularly for those who grapple with social anxiety. Imagine stepping into a bustling room filled with strangers, each face a potential source of connection or discomfort. For many, the instinct is to flood the space with words, sometimes leading to a convoluted mess of thoughts and feelings. The result? They leave feeling as though they said nothing of substance, almost like a watered-down version of themselves. Let's explore a scenario to illustrate this. Picture someone preparing to send an email or perhaps even gearing up for a conversation they're anxious about. The internal dialogue often goes something like this: "I need to say something, but I'm not comfortable. What if I mess it up?" Instead of delivering their message clearly, they hedge their statements, leading to a muddled delivery. A simple sentiment transforms into a stream of qualifiers. "Well, I mean, it's not really that big of a deal, but..." Contrast this with someone who takes a moment to breathe before speaking. Instead of layering on the uncertainty, they say, "This isn't something I'm comfortable with." Such a direct approach packs power. It demonstrates clarity, confidence, and a willingness to be authentic. The difference lies in the delivery. Removing the extraneous fluff and getting straight to the point allows for genuine communication. The importance of that initial breath cannot be overstated. It serves as a grounding technique, giving you a moment to collect your thoughts and present them coherently. Many people become flustered when they rush into conversation without a clear intention. They may open their mouths only to let a jumble of anxiety-laden words spill out. This chaos often results in embarrassment or the feeling of having failed to convey their true thoughts. Taking a breath at the beginning sets a calm tone, allowing for a more structured and confident delivery of what you want to express. So, what's the best way to strike up a conversation when faced with the daunting prospect of social interactions? A practical tip is to focus on engaging with just one person rather than trying to address the entire room. This shift in mindset can transform your experience. Instead of feeling overwhelmed by the number of people around you, concentrate on fostering a meaningful connection with a single individual. After all, it's not about the quantity of interactions, but the quality. Consider this: you might leave a networking event recalling a deep, 6-minute conversation with one person, rather than a shallow exchange with a dozen others. Aim for substance over superficiality. To break the ice, initiate a conversation by asking questions that invite the other person to share their thoughts or aspirations. For instance, instead of the usual "how are you?" which often leads to obligatory responses, ask, "What are you looking forward to?" or "What excites you today?" These questions prompt a forward-looking discussion that often elicits more engaging responses. Furthermore, it's common for people to revert to discussing their past when asked how they are, often resulting in negative or mundane replies. Encourage a more optimistic approach by steering the conversation toward future events. Instead of defaulting to "I'm doing fine," which can feel stale, try responding with something like, "I'm really excited about the concert I'm going to this weekend." This not only sounds more positive but also opens the door for further discussion about shared interests. Additionally, don't shy away from being truthful about how you feel. If you're having a tough day, it's perfectly acceptable to say, "I'm feeling a bit overcast today." Framing your feelings in terms of the weather creates an immediate understanding without burdening others with excessive detail. This metaphorical approach allows you to express your current state without oversharing or veering into uncomfortable territory. Oversharing can often stem from a desire for validation or a need to feel believed. Sometimes, people feel that the more they say, the more credible their message will be. However, this can backfire. The more words you use to express a thought, the less convincing it may sound. Instead of being a cascading waterfall of words, think of yourself as a well, providing others with the opportunity to draw from your experiences without overwhelming them. This mindful approach can create a space where conversations feel balanced and meaningful. Rather than monopolizing the dialogue, allow others to engage with you. For example, instead of launching into a lengthy explanation about your weekend plans, you could simply say, "I'm really looking forward to hiking on Saturday. What about you?" This invites the other person to share their thoughts and creates a natural back-and-forth exchange. If you find yourself struggling with how to respond to the standard "how are you?" question, consider incorporating more creative and thoughtful responses. You could say something like, "I'm feeling adventurous today," or "It's a bit of a roller coaster for me right now." This not only piques the other person's interest but also allows you to share your feelings without the weight of an overly detailed narrative. As we explore these conversational strategies, it's crucial to remember that practice makes perfect. Engage in opportunities to converse with others, whether through networking events, social gatherings, or even casual encounters at cafes. With each interaction, you'll gain more confidence and comfort in expressing yourself. Over time, these new habits will become second nature. Moreover, keep in mind that not every conversation needs to lead to a profound connection. Sometimes, it's enough to enjoy a light-hearted exchange. Being present in the moment and embracing the spontaneity of social interactions can lead to unexpected joys and connections. In summary, the art of conversation, especially for those who experience social anxiety, requires mindfulness and intention. Focus on the quality of interactions rather than the quantity. Take a breath before speaking, allowing yourself the space to communicate clearly. Engage in forward-looking discussions and be truthful about your feelings without overwhelming others with details. By adopting a well-like approach to sharing information, you can foster more engaging and meaningful exchanges. Ultimately, communication is about building connections and relationships. When we approach conversations with authenticity and openness, we create an environment where others feel comfortable sharing their thoughts as well. Through practice, patience, and a willingness to engage thoughtfully, anyone can become a more confident conversationalist, transforming daunting social situations into enjoyable experiences. The journey of personal expression and standing one's ground can feel like navigating uncharted waters. Imagine being on a life raft, feeling tossed about by the waves of uncertainty and social expectations. In the midst of that turmoil, the wisdom shared by others can be a lifeline. For many, the struggle to communicate authentically can feel like an avalanche or a waterfall, overwhelming and chaotic. But what if instead of these torrents of words, you could cultivate the calmness of a well, allowing people to draw the information they need without drowning in a deluge? This transformative approach is about finding your voice while also maintaining control over the conversation. It starts with the simplest of actions, letting your breath be the first word you say. When someone asks, "How are you doing?" instead of hurriedly responding with an automatic, "I'm good," take a moment to inhale deeply. This brief pause not only helps you gather your thoughts, but also conveys to the other person that you are present and engaged. In doing so, you acknowledge their question, which fosters a deeper connection. This practice of pausing before responding can significantly impact your ability to assert yourself. Too often, people feel pressured to fill the silence, leading to hasty responses that don't truly reflect their thoughts. Imagine getting on a flight without knowing your destination, merely because everyone else is boarding. You wouldn't be able to orient yourself upon arrival, and the same applies to conversations. By taking a moment to center yourself, you can better determine where you want the dialogue to go, instead of merely reacting in the moment. Establishing a sense of direction in conversations is essential. By defining a conversational goal, you can steer the discussion toward meaningful outcomes. This involves being intentional about what you want to achieve in your dialogue. Are you looking for clarity on a particular issue? Do you want to build rapport with someone? Or perhaps you're aiming to express your feelings authentically? Having a clear destination in mind gives your words purpose, making it easier to stay on track. In addition to setting goals, embracing your conversational values can help guide your interactions. These values serve as your compass, reflecting who you are and how you wish to be perceived. For instance, one key value might be the notion that if you can't build a bridge with someone, at least you can be a lighthouse. In other words, even if a conversation doesn't go as planned, you can still shine a light for others, providing guidance and support when they need it. Another foundational value could be the importance of kindness. This principle can often stem from early lessons learned from family, such as the wisdom shared by a mother who reminds you to be kind, even when confronted with negativity. The beauty of kindness lies in its universality. It can diffuse tension and pave the way for more productive conversations. When faced with challenging exchanges, like dealing with an opposing attorney who boasts about their sunshine case, the opportunity to inject kindness can be a powerful tool. Rather than retaliating with criticism, acknowledging the other person's commitment to their clients can create an unexpected bond. It's essential to realize that kindness doesn't mean sacrificing your stance or failing to stand up for yourself. Instead, it provides a foundation for respectful dialogue. If you're able to articulate your point of view while simultaneously extending kindness, you create space for a constructive exchange. This method allows you to remain authentic while fostering a collaborative atmosphere. Moreover, there's immense value in allowing your words to communicate who you are without needing to declare your name or title. This involves making your interactions more about how you make others feel rather than how you label yourself. Your presence can speak volumes without the necessity of formal introductions. As you engage in conversations, especially those that might become contentious or defensive, keep these values at the forefront of your mind. If the opposing party insists on discussing their case's merits without acknowledging its weaknesses, you can choose to respond with a balanced perspective. For example, rather than dismissing their claims outright, you might say, "You're doing a great job representing your clients. I can see your dedication." This approach not only shows your professionalism but also disarms potential hostility. A key takeaway from this mindset is that you'll never regret practicing kindness. On the contrary, moments where you forego kindness often linger in your memory, leaving you with a sense of unease or regret. This reflects the profound impact your interactions can have, not only on others but also on your own emotional well-being. Each conversation is an opportunity to create connections, so choosing how you engage thoughtfully can change the trajectory of those relationships. Thinking about your intentions in conversations is equally crucial. Before entering a meeting or initiating dialogue, take a moment to reflect on what you hope to convey and how you want to be perceived. This self-awareness will shape your demeanor and response. Consider how your body language, tone, and choice of words align with your goals. When you walk into a meeting with a clear understanding of your intentions, you project confidence, which influences how others receive your message. Using these principles in daily interactions can significantly transform how you navigate conversations. By prioritizing intentionality and kindness, you shift the focus from self-centered concerns to a more empathetic approach. This can create a ripple effect, encouraging others to engage similarly. Practicing these techniques in various settings, be it professional or personal, will enhance your communication skills. Whether at work, social gatherings, or family events, applying these concepts consistently will build your confidence. Over time, you'll become adept at navigating even the most challenging conversations while staying true to your values. Additionally, consider integrating pre-conversation reflections into your routine. Before important meetings or discussions, take a few moments to meditate on your goals and values. This exercise can help clear your mind and prepare you to engage meaningfully. The more you practice, the more instinctive this process will become. In conclusion, the path to effective communication lies in intentionality and authenticity. By allowing your breath to be the first word and setting clear conversational goals, you create a structure that enhances your interactions. Embracing values like kindness and self-awareness not only enriches your conversations but also fosters deeper connections with others. With practice, you can transform how you engage with the world, creating a ripple effect of positivity and understanding that extends beyond yourself. So, the next time you find yourself in a challenging conversation, remember the power of pausing to breathe, the clarity of setting goals, and the warmth of kindness. These simple yet profound techniques can guide you toward becoming a more confident and effective communicator, empowering you to navigate the complexities of social interactions with grace and authenticity. Navigating the complexities of communication can often feel overwhelming, yet there lies within us a profound power to reshape our interactions and, ultimately, our lives. It's easy to drift through daily exchanges, merely surviving rather than thriving. However, when we pause to reflect on the words we choose, we begin to see that these very expressions can dramatically influence our relationships and environments. Consider your romantic encounters, for instance. Every connection you forge, from the moment you meet over coffee to deepening relationships, is intricately woven by the words spoken. Perhaps you expressed something that resonated with another, and that moment sparked a romantic interest. Conversely, words left unspoken or miscommunicated can lead to misunderstandings and lost opportunities. Recognizing this power of language allows us to harness it consciously, shaping the narrative of our lives through what we say. Imagine standing at a crossroads, contemplating your communication style and its impact. It's one thing to use kind words in passing, it's another to confront yourself with intention and clarity. What kind of person do you aspire to be? This self-reflection is vital to reclaiming control over your narrative. When we take stock of our communication, we can redefine how we express ourselves and the values we want to embody. To embark on this journey, one must ask a series of critical questions. Reflect on your values and how you wish to be perceived. A powerful technique I learned during my time as a public defender involved visualizing the aftermath of a courtroom interaction. I would ask myself, what do I want the jury to think as they leave the courtroom? This concept can easily translate to any meeting or interaction. What impression do you want to leave? By focusing on the desired outcome, you can tailor your approach accordingly. The energy you bring into a space plays a pivotal role in shaping the atmosphere. When you enter a room, consider how you want others to feel. Are you bringing excitement, tension, or calmness? Each person carries a unique energy that can either uplift or dampen a group's spirit. Strive to be the person whose arrival is met with enthusiasm and positivity. Recognizing this allows you to consciously choose the vibe you exude, influencing the dynamics of the room. A vital tool in this endeavor is introspection. Ask yourself, who do my words say that I am? This question opens the door to understanding how your verbal expressions align with your true self. Sometimes, there's a disconnect between how we speak and who we want to be. Seeking feedback from those who know you well can provide valuable insights. How do others perceive your communication style? Are your words bringing about anxiety, confusion, or clarity? This process of self-discovery is critical in refining your voice. In terms of actionable steps, first, define who you want to be with your words. Take the time to think long-term about the impact you wish to create. Do you want to be perceived as confident, kind, or knowledgeable? Establishing a clear intention will guide your interactions. The next step is to consider what words best reflect that identity. Think about the phrases you use and their connotations. Words can build bridges or erect barriers, so choose them wisely. Moreover, understand the power of your reputation. You possess the ability to influence how others perceive you through your words and actions. Before entering any interaction, take a moment to remind yourself of the person you aim to be. Align your speech and demeanor with this intention, which is both empowering and straightforward. Recognize that your interactions are a reflection of your character. After an interaction, consider what made you feel positively about the person you just spoke with. Often, it comes down to the kindness they extended, their ability to make you feel valued, or their genuine interest in your thoughts. The experience they crafted through their words largely determines your impression of them. When it comes to effective communication in the workplace, one key principle stands out: approach each interaction with the mindset of learning rather than proving. This shift in perspective can be transformative. Instead of entering conversations with the sole purpose of asserting your viewpoint, adopt a curiosity-driven approach. What insights can you glean from the other person? This perspective fosters respect and opens the door to more meaningful exchanges. For instance, if you wish to be known as a respectful colleague, your choice of language should reflect that intention. Avoid gossip and negativity, as these behaviors contribute to a detrimental reputation. Instead, engage in conversations that uplift and encourage. Your associations with others can impact how you are perceived, so align yourself with those who reflect your values. To enhance your authority in conversations, employ language that exudes confidence. Use assertive words and phrases that convey direction and purpose. For example, instead of saying, "I think we should consider this option," assertively state, "I recommend we consider this option." This subtle shift in language can dramatically influence how others perceive your authority and competence. Furthermore, develop a repertoire of phrases that align with your values and aspirations. practice using these phrases in everyday conversations until they become second nature. By doing so, you will gradually shape your identity and the way others perceive you. It's also essential to approach communication as a two-way street. Pay attention to how your words affect those around you. Acknowledging the feelings and reactions of others fosters a deeper connection. When someone responds positively to your words, it reinforces the impact of your communication style. Conversely, if you notice discomfort or negativity, reflect on how you can adjust your approach. As you embark on this journey of self-discovery and communication refinement, be patient with yourself. Change takes time and consistent effort. Celebrate your progress, no matter how small, and remain committed to your growth. The more you practice intentional communication, the more natural it will become. Ultimately, the journey toward becoming a more effective communicator begins with understanding yourself and the impact of your words. By intentionally crafting your language and aligning it with your values, you can reshape the way others perceive you and enhance your relationships across various domains of life. With every conversation, you have the opportunity to influence your reality and cultivate connections that enrich your life. In conclusion, communication is a powerful tool that can be harnessed to create meaningful relationships and a positive reputation. By taking time to reflect on who you want to be, actively seeking feedback, and intentionally crafting your words, you set the stage for impactful interactions. Remember that the energy you bring into any space has the potential to uplift or diminish the experience of those around you. Embrace your power to change the narrative through your words, and watch as your relationships flourish. The direction of our conversations can often take unexpected turns, and it's vital to steer them toward a place that feels authentic and supportive. It's not just about words, it's about setting a tone of understanding and connection. Each word we choose can illuminate who we aspire to be, and in our daily lives, this intention shapes our relationships, especially with our families. Effective communication within the family requires a delicate touch, particularly during challenging discussions. When navigating tough conversations, ensure that your loved ones know you are approaching the dialogue with love and care. A simple phrase like, "I'm sharing this because I love you," can significantly shift the tone of the conversation. For many, these affirmations may not have been a staple during their upbringing. Acknowledging feelings of pride and love can foster an environment of support and understanding, paving the way for healthier communication. When you find yourself in a disagreement, whether with a spouse or a child, it's important to recognize that you are all learning together. Admitting that you, too, are figuring things out can ease tension. For instance, saying, "I'm learning, too, this is my first time being a parent," humanizes the experience and builds empathy. Everyone is on their unique journey, and acknowledging that fact can de-escalate conflicts. It's equally important to embrace humility in your conversations. Don't shy away from apologizing or admitting mistakes. A heartfelt apology can reinforce your strength. Owning your shortcomings in a relationship conveys maturity and respect, and it invites others to do the same. Consider saying, "I'm doing my best, but I'm learning along the way," which recognizes the challenges without dismissing your own efforts. Communication evolves as relationships deepen. For couples, the transition from dating to marriage often introduces new dynamics that require adjustment. It's essential to recognize that every interaction holds the potential for change, not just within yourself, but also in how you engage with your partner. The notion that relationships can be reinvented is liberating. Every moment is an opportunity to reshape how you communicate and connect with one another. In this journey, the only constant is your response to the other person. You can't control their actions, but you can influence the interaction by choosing how you communicate. Reflect on the ways you can express yourself more effectively. So, what steps can you take to improve communication today? Start by harnessing the power of your words. The language you use has a profound impact on how others perceive you. If you want to project strength and decisiveness, select words that embody those qualities. Your vocabulary can become a powerful tool for conveying authority and self-assurance. The beauty of effective communication is that it's not restricted by age or experience. Anyone can cultivate this skill at any point in their life. The next word you speak holds the potential to change the course of a conversation, or relationship, or even your personal narrative. By using your words for positivity and understanding, you set the stage for more constructive interactions. As you reflect on your communication style, it's also important to keep kindness at the forefront of your interactions. Whether you are discussing a difficult topic or celebrating achievements, infusing your dialogue with kindness fosters trust and connection. When you approach conversations with the intent to uplift, you create an environment where everyone feels valued. As we wrap up this exploration of communication, remember that you have untapped power waiting to be utilized. Your words can pave the way for growth, connection, and healing. So, if you want to be perceived as strong and decisive, let your language reflect that intention. You have the ability to create positive change in your relationships simply by altering the way you communicate. It's essential to take a moment to acknowledge the light that surrounds you. Whether from friends, family, or mentors, these influences can encourage you to embrace your potential. We often don't realize the impact of our words until we consciously choose to elevate them. Just like previously said, it's all about using your words to illuminate your path and the paths of those around you. In closing, I urge you to take everything you've learned from these conversations to heart. Use it to forge deeper relationships and to express authority in your interactions. Allow your words to reflect the person you strive to be. As a reminder, you are loved, and your journey toward effective communication is a valuable one. I believe in your capacity to create a life filled with meaningful connections. Let every word you speak be a step toward better understanding, compassion, and growth. Your voice matters, and its potential is limitless. Embrace this journey with an open heart, and watch as your relationships flourish in ways you may never have imagined. Copyright 2024 by AudioBooksTube. Thank you for listening. Please consider to subscribe, like, and share to help the channel growth. New videos on a daily basis.